I call this meeting to order at 12:08 p.m. Okay, on Thursday, July 13th. Roll call, please.
Carlos Blanco,
Present.
Alex Benavides,
Present.
Ricardo A. Solis,
Here.
Margarito Benavides, Alex Arreguín,
Present.
Eduardo Ochoa, Reynaldo Vélez, and Luis Ramirez. You have a quorum.
Thank you, ma'am. Since I was here last time, I need a motion and a second to approve the minutes as read. Do I hear a motion?
Oh,
Oh, sorry about that.
he just needs a
Yeah,
motion to
Jim.
approve the minutes.
Approved.
Well, make the motion.
Motion to approve.
You make a
Second.
motion? I need a second.
Second.
Motion and second to approve minutes. All those in favor say aye. All those against, same sign. Minutes approved. Item 4, general comments. Do we have anybody with permission comments?
No
General
comments.
comments? No comments?
I guess from the last meeting, I guess we went over the budget, just the issues that we were gonna present. I know we presented it to management, we're discussing it. And one of the critical things that we set up to where it's gonna, the increase per year is gonna drop back down to 3%, because right now it was at 5%. And we feel that we want to get that, keep that 5% going for the next year, because things are getting a little more expensive from an operations standpoint. That is something that we're discussing with staff, with management, and see how we present it to council. That's something that I was wanted to comment on. And then regarding our secondary water system, which is the next one.
Anybody to add to that? Anybody else to add to the comments? Okay. Close the general
I
comment.
do want to add one.
Yes.
I know when we met the last time, because we were all tasked with kind of talking to our council members about that very issue. I don't know if anyone else did, but I did speak with council member Melissa Figueroa. She was very much in favor of keeping the rates at the amounts that they're at. We did have some questions about the budget, and just like I had questions about the budget, but we can go through that at some other time. But I just did want to let you know that I did have that conversation with her, and she certainly was in support of keeping it further.
And the budget will be discussed the first week of August. There will be budget workshops. And so we are scheduled to go and talk about the revenue, the proposed budget, which is the revenues and expenses and where we're at. So I guess if she has any questions, they could be asked then, or they'll be answered then. Or if she wants to come and visit ahead of time, she's more than welcome to, you can let her know.
I'll let her know.
But, because sometimes it's a little bit more complex than what we go into at those budget workshops, just because we are limited in time.
Right.
And so, you know, anybody's more than welcome to come and ask the questions ahead of time if they're interested, you know.
Good.
I know I haven't been here for what, how many months, 3 months, 4 months, 5 months, 6 months? Something like
I
that.
don't remember the last time you
I
did.
got to catch up. So would you send me all the minutes from the last meeting I attended?
Yes.
All right. The other thing is, I know because I asked for an item to be handled by the utilities unit, and it's been 3 months and they don't have time because they're short-handed. We're still short-handed, Arturo?
Distribution, yeah.
Distribution, yes. I know our billing, well, I think we have 1 vacancy, but our distribution, I think we're down to 14 vacancies.
Something like that. And that's the division that is the one that's always out on the street. And that's the one that we have a lot of vacancies at. And that one has not really changed. We did unfund 2 positions to give, like, say, billing an opportunity to get 2 more positions, because the budget is getting to the point where revenues are matching expenses now. Whereas before we had a bigger gap and we could afford to say, well, let me go hire some more staff. We're getting to the point where we're almost just breaking even, right? So, but that is one division that, for whatever reason, it is hard labor, not, and it's hot, they work when it's wet, hot, cold, you know, so it's a hard division to hire for. You know, because they're also on call. Guys want to party on the weekend, I guess, and if you're on call, boy, you just can't do that.
Yeah,
So-
work for utility company, and I know exactly what they're
So
going
it
through.
is one of our tougher divisions to hire for, and so, but it's also the one that's always out there because of the water line breaks and stuff.
What's the starting pay on that?
It depends on the position. So I know
What's the
that
average?
we really, well, we had a Siegel study recently done and everybody got it. Most people got a bump up in pay. It just depends. I think the labor is,
18.
no, the crew leader is something like $21 now, which is a bump up. And so now everybody wants to be a crew leader, right?
Yeah.
But the labor is, I don't know, if it's a 15 maybe 15 or so. I'm not quite
That was
sure.
16.
It went up, but it's still not the same as if we went to go
Not
work
as
with the
effective,
oil
It's
industries.
like right now, the oil field are paying around $20, 20. Yeah. So we lose a lot of labor to that. As they see that. Like,
And with that division, it's getting to the point where we're having to contract out water line breaks to contractors to help us out.
Mhm.
Because we can't handle it. It's just a lot of work.
Yeah. Where I was going with this, what are we doing to advertise for these positions? Is this on the city website? or-
Well, right now it's on the city's website, but we did ask HR if we could have a hiring event
Yeah, that-
only for utilities. In the past, we have had one where it's utilities, public works, solid waste, but then you kind of lose them to the other departments. So we're asking to see if we could have one just
Standalone.
specifically for utilities, so that they don't come in and they come in a suit and tie thinking, oh, I'm gonna apply for an office. No, it's distribution, labor, you know, specific to the outside work, you know. We're in the process of that.
I think they are planning a job fair just for utilities. So that will try to fill those positions.
Yeah, because I know, I mean, manpower is, right now, it's hard everywhere. I mean, it doesn't matter what you're doing, there's a shortage of manpower.
I think Big Lou also sees that.
No, the thing is you're trying to work and the upper people are destroying.
Yeah.
That's what's hurting us right now. Since they don't understand how things work, they just assume a lot of things. They're giving us a lot of problems.
Well, my experience is that sometimes contractors are better to go with. And because of the simple reason you don't have all the residual, healthcare, retirement, insurance, this, insurance, that, you might pay a little bit more to the contractor, but he's actually said it's like the temps. That business just does not exist. Now what they take in for medicals or whatever, so maybe we need to visit a contractor symposium where they come in and understand what they get paid. I don't know, to help out.
And we are doing that, like, we have started contracting some of the line breaks, because if we've got staff working
Yeah.
24/7, then they just can't continue. And so
Yeah.
we'll contract out certain areas, just, you know, but they're smaller areas right now. We don't have a plan to say, go do all of this area and stuff. But
Right.
that is something that we need to work on.
Yeah.
Now, do you have like approved vendors, because with contractors that you have to
We
go
don't
through
have
procurement?
we
Well,
don't
what
have-
we've done, I did the RFQ for contractors to give me certain price quotes within certain ranges. And I know recently, I was using the buy board, but that's being scrutinized right now. So I need to go through the RFQ process or RFP process. And, you know, it takes more time, but I do have contractors available. I think I have 2 or 3 contractors that are on my list. And it's a matter of just continuing that. I plan to do it again this year to have contractors available, because the guys can't work straight that long. They get fatigued, they get tired, and they burn them out. So that's why I need the contractors to come in and help out.
And that's why we went contractor way. I mean, the downtime on the equipment breaking down for a crew, and there's no extra equipment for that crew then bunched up with another crew, and they do the same amount of work, even though there's double the amount of people there. I mean, if you can only do so many things at one time. And so we learned to get rid of the equipment, you know, we weren't contractor strictly. And, it paid off the skill to the factory to this day, and I'm talking about Southwesternville AT&T. I mean, we had our crews doing everything, and so most of our equipment was in the shop. And what do you do with the employees making 15, 20, back then, $20, $30 an hour? They're not productive at all. Might be something we need to visit.
And we're open for like suggestions and stuff, like I said, but like sometimes we take 2 steps forward, 3 steps back.
Exactly.
Because, for example, the simplest thing to do sometimes is to use buy board, but now we're being criticized for using buy board because we're circumventing the bidding process. So we can never win.
Well, but if we go through the bidding process at the beginning of the year, open to all contractors, bring in your bids, everything else, and so this is where it gets funny but real. You may have somebody that says, you know what, I charge $500 an hour, and I come in and say, well, I charge $400, and he'll come in and say, well, we'll charge $350. Well, he's going to get the first job, but so he's always going to get the second because he's doing 400, and I'm going to get the last one because I'm doing 5. Next year, I'm going to adjust that to 400 to get it work, right? It's called competitors amongst contractors. That's a good way to go. But if you stipulate, this is what I pay, come work for me, and they go, you know, not worth it.
And I guess, like, for example, we do have the lab companies on a rotation schedule, so whenever we are gonna start a project, we'll say, well, who's the next lab company on the list? And that's who gets, regardless of what, I mean, it's just the lab, whatever their fees are. So that might be
Yeah, but
something.
we gotta build a better mousetrap. I mean, I can go back to when I was a kid and see meter readers, right? You don't see them anymore. It's all satellite. So there was a big adjustment in manpower right there. And so the same thing with equipment. You have to look at what is your cost to maintain the equipment, keep it on the line, and how many you have to have a backup there, not doing anything until one breaks. It's a big capital investment, right? So maybe we can visit that down the road and talk to some councilmen, get them on our side and change their process a little bit different.
Yeah, and that's,
Now, if I may, back in 1988, so last century, I was hired as a contract laborer for a high temperature alloy facility in Houston. And the pay wasn't the best in the world, right? But this company had an incentive for contract laborers in where if you didn't miss a single day in a month, they would give the worker $8. So if you didn't miss
A bonus, yeah.
an entire 30-day period, that employee would get an 8-hour bonus on their check, towards, or reflected towards what they made hourly. Right, so that was an incentive there. On a contract labor where they don't have any benefits at all, no, any type of health benefits or nothing. That may be an incentive. Now, I don't wanna micromanage anything, I'm not a contractor. Now, I'm just speaking from experience. I don't know if the city of Laredo's already doing it, but perhaps the city of Laredo may make a suggestion to the city council members that if the contractor would consider something like that, and where they could give the employee a benefit or some type of either extra hours or gift card to Walmart or Kmart, something like that, in order to keep the employee satisfied so they don't miss any days of work. 'Cause myself being a laborer for most part of my life, I know how it affects a company when somebody doesn't show up for work, especially on them wicked Mondays.
Or early Fridays.
Yeah, and people just don't show up to work. But you say, you know what, if you don't miss a month of work, we'll give you it for you.
And we
You know,
used to do that.
And
We did
it builds up I would say the esteem of the employee not to miss any work. You know. I'm gonna get me a gift card, or I'm gonna get me this, I look forward to that. And when I was working for this high temp alloy company up in Houston, it inspired me to show up every day to work. I could use those extra 8 hours in pay. However, that was back in 1988. How things are working nowadays, I have no idea.
Well, incentives are always good, and it's what I'm saying, that we need to find a better mousetrap, because I know that what he's charged with, and it seems like Okay, you're gonna hear it here, 2 weeks, 3 weeks without water, and it's because it's not a simple repair job. But you have to put your manpower there, now you got a little break over here, a little break over there, and you're not taking care of that, we're losing. It's a catch-22, so we need to, as a board, take something to the council and say, this is what's happening, this is what, you need to make a difference here, right? And you got the experience, I've got the experience, we've been around a couple of years, but I can remember as a technician I was in Bell, if I didn't miss a day all year long, I got an extra couple of days a year vacation time. So that was an incentive, and then it started getting some, like you said, some cash, not cash, debit cards or whatever it was. So you wanted to be there, You didn't miss a day in a year, you were awarded something. It was where you were recognized, so I'm not sure you have some kind of that. But a plaque is one thing, but money counts.
And if you have fast cash, it inspires someone. Now, that's why I was thinking of making a suggestion to the city of Laredo to try and kind of like twist the arm of the contractors. Not to make it mandatory, but you know what? It'll be a win-win for all of us.
But they got insurance, they got benefits, they got retirement
Do they?
here in the city. So,
Oh, yeah, but no,
so why are you gonna get an incentive for doing a job you're paid to do?
But see, it's a mental thing. It's a mental thing,
Yeah,
believe me.
I mean, it's
$100
already-
extra a week or extra a month, that's pocket money. We used to call it pocket money. You didn't take that home. That gets taken in your pocket.
And also here you can move up and make more money.
Right, yeah,
So-
I'm not saying you don't.
Yeah.
Okay, so then why does he have 14 vacancies?
Right. Because of what they pay.
Well, then.
And there's no employees,
But
we have
see-
the same problem, we
but
can't
that-
find employees.
yeah, so that's what
And
I'm
we're
getting-
paying more than they are.
That's what I'm getting at, that we need to come up with better mousetrap, whether it's, whatever it is. But if
So
you
you're
have
saying,
14 vacancies.
you're saying
how
when
can
you
do
used to
that?
work, right? You always look for that incentive, or you just work because
No,
you're happy
because I got
that
paid
there's
$45
someone
an hour.
that. No, that's what I'm saying,
Yeah.
like I work, I'm not like.
But I got
when
paid
if I-
whether I showed up or not.
Yeah.
I had 6 weeks vacation, 7 personal days, 5 sick days. I mean, that's all.
It's like one of my guys gets sick, we
You're
pay them,
done.
no, we still pay them.
You're
They're
still
like,
paying
cause they're
them.
good employees. You know what I'm saying? They got sick, like something happened, we'll still take care of them. You understand, like, you have a job with us. Why am I gonna give you a credit card because you're doing your job?
No, it's
No,
not
in my
because-
mind.
it's not because you're doing a job.
Doing your job
You
description.
missed my conversation
No,
at the
yeah,
beginning
sorry.
when I said that we have a piece of equipment break down, and we had a crew of 4 on that tractor. Those 4, you put them on another crew, you got 8 on one
Oh,
tractor,
yeah.
and they're not doing any more than they were doing before. So we had to find a better mousetrap. And it's one thing that was, I've had one of the biggest territories, and I had to find a way to be productive either with my employees or outside of my employees. And we started going contractor based. We started giving away.
Well, that I'm agreeing with you, but the
Yeah.
incentives of.
But the incentive, it's a carrot, that's all it is.
But we do.
And you have the guys, I had 240 employees, 240, I had 40 I'd never worried about. The other 200 had to catch chase every day. All right, so that's what I'm getting at, that once we started changing, you didn't have 200 that weren't showing up anymore, one here and one there. You had 20 or 30, then you went after those in attendance, and then you fired them, right? So it's not just gifts, there's incentives and then there's penalties. But it's something that we need to, because you see it too often, I mean, they're in trouble.
Yeah, because they're leaving because someone's paying them more money.
Yeah.
Or they get qualified and then they go to San Antonio.
They go to San Antonio.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, and these good employees actually ask them,
Yeah.
hey, I don't want to leave, but, and they're like, well, I can't, we're capped.
Yeah, but see, there's no difference, like in my business, real estate, same thing. I get a realtor who pulls in 100,000 a year, and guess what, every other company's calling to go with them, and they're offering more, and to get there, they don't. The grass is always greener on the other side of the fence. No, it's a reflection of where you're at. So that's what I'm getting at, that you have to, you live with that forever. But those that live here and don't want to leave, that leave for a oil field job, which is temporary because it's not every day.
Oh, yeah.
And that's cyclical, you know? Right up on the Eagle Ford, look at all the trucking and everything else. But we're beating a dead horse to death there. But the bottom line is, we as a board need to find a way to help him, right? I mean, we need to be productive
Yeah,
ourselves.
the budget, that's really
Yeah,
helpful.
yeah.
And I know it's a balancing game, it's like a fine tuning that we're doing. And I think the Siegel survey did one part of it, we just need to build on it, continue to build. And like, I'm trying to develop the skill set in people so that they feel that they're gaining and they have more value. And then that way we can reward them by raising the pay scale. Because I wanna be to the point where I have very technical staff, sharp staff that, like right now, like with what happened at our water plants, we've got 14 B operators. That is something that is great. You know, not too many people can get their B licenses. And we did it, and now they're a value to the operation. You know, the next step is gonna be for them to get their A, because if I can have 14 A operators, wow.
Yeah.
No, and they're like Which One Water, they treat this like if it's their business, you know what I mean? I deal with them when there's issues and problems, like, and they'll call you at any time. I mean, they have really good staff, but it comes down to like, man, the pay is not enough to handle all these
Yeah.
problems. But,
And then there's the little side issues, the political issues.
of course. But anyways, we got a topic.
Okay, so that's my dime for this general comment.
Very experienced answer.
You know, but it's, something we gotta find a way to try and fix the problem as much as we can. All right? All right, any other comments? Moving on, secondary water source, that's what started this committee to begin with. All right? How many years ago? 5, 6?
Well, it's been years. I know it's before I came on board, and just to let you know, we did do an RFI. This was a supplemental water supply availability. I do have the document. I was gonna make copies, but these are large documents. And what I may do is I may get some flash drives and bring them to all of you so that you can review them. And I just want you to be familiar with it. This is a document. There's two companies that submitted proposals. Valley Rio Supply and Legacy Water Supply Corporation were the two firms that I got statements from. Just so that you have an idea, what I'm promoting is I wanna have multiple sources, not dedicated to one group, because that one group may have issues down the road, 50 years down the road, I don't know. I want us to have, like, right now, San Antonio has 8 available sources, okay? I want Laredo to have multiple available sources. How many? I don't know yet, but right now we're just looking at 2. There's other sources, groundwater sources that are available, and I want to be able to feed our system through multiple sources. The concept I'm looking at is having these large ground storage tanks that we can use to fill, and also council has brought to my attention that they don't like me flushing too much and throwing that water away. So I'm thinking, well, maybe I can recirculate that water into these ground storage tanks, add our groundwater that we're gonna have to it, and blend it and have, control the treatment in those tanks at strategic locations that we'll have throughout the city. And that's something that I'm thinking of, and then I'll be getting with the consultants to develop a plan for. And then it's a matter of finding those purveyors that will bring that groundwater to us, and what quality, and then do a blending study and develop that plan. Or alternate source available. And it's just a matter of sizing those ground storage tanks to be available, and how we're gonna treat it and manage the water quality in those tanks. And just to give you a summary. But what I wanna do, I wanna get you copies of this, digital copies, so you can review it and we can continue the discussion of issues and concerns we're gonna have. Because Eagle Pass also has we did a memorandum of understanding that we're looking at. We're having the city attorney review, because we're looking also at a regional approach. So that way we can get funding through the state, through Texas Water Development Board. So, because the state likes when you start talking regional. So that way we can have available funding, whether they help us fund some of these tanks, or some of these transmission lines, or even the wells, or whether we decide to buy some of these groundwater wells, we don't know. We don't know how that plan's gonna develop. But those are the ideas, and I don't know if you all want to discuss that, or you give me some direction, things that I can do. But first, I would like to be able to give to you this information, so we can have discussions on that. So I'll open it up to you.
So you received
Two statements that
and what was, I guess just briefly, what was included in those statements?
they provide what their capabilities are, what the water qualities, and their sources, and what they project. And typically what they want to know, like I did have a vendor that came in, a water purveyor. They're wanting to know if you're committed to them. But I don't want to commit everything to one group. I want to have multiple groups. And what they're wanting, I need to know what their source is, what their volumes are, and how they're gonna deliver it, and what's their cost.
Right.
So those are the things that we need to address.
So that's not in this.
Not, no, that comes in later.
Okay.
This, they provide the information, what they have available, what's the quality, and can they deliver, and how they plan to deliver.
So that's included in this?
Yes. And so those are things that can be discussed. I think this is all the front end. That's why the document's so long.
That's all required information that was needed to put on.
Yeah,
on
for
the
their RFI. So,
So as far as the delivery, is what they're providing you, are they including that in their proposal? Or is it sort of thing like, we're here, you can get your pipe, like, who pays for the pipe, I guess is the question.
well, those are gonna be the issues, because this public-private venture or group, that's what we're gonna have to work out. Those are the details that we need to now start working on, because bottom line, we're gonna be wanting to know what's gonna cost me per 1,000 gallons. That's, and how is that gonna affect my rate? And,
So when they lay the, say they lay the line, right, are they gonna be available to also to span out to other ranches? Or that's gonna be a dedicated line just to Laredo?
well, those are the details that we need to discuss. Do we want it dedicated, because then do we claim ownership? Do we own the water line?
Yeah.
Who owns the water line? See, all those
Who
details.
fixes it when it breaks?
Right. You
But if
know,
you own the water line, if you wanna provide water to branches, whatever, that's.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying, once that line work is done, everybody's gonna want it.
It's your.
because what,
You
what
can also
I'm,
top the county, 47 miles out, you got city water.
Yeah.
what I'm looking at is having
Yeah.
delivery points identified in the city that they're responsible to bring water, and then they maintain the rest. And then they give me their bottom line cost. Because I don't wanna have to deal with a water line 100 miles away that I have to go fix. I have a hard enough time taking care of the stuff here. So I'll just have strategic delivery points. That's the concept I'm thinking. And then they're responsible for that. It may be a private company that says, yeah, I'll take care of it, because they're gonna run the numbers. In fact, I had a meeting just earlier this week with a group that's doing that. They're trying to see, are you interested? Yeah, I may commit to 2 million, 4 million gallons, but I'm not gonna give them all the amount. You know, I'll have different purveyors coming to me. Because, like I said, I don't wanna be stuck at Valverde and all of a sudden they run dry. That's the problem.
I think you want me to give them a look.
Yeah, go ahead.
From born out of the integrated water master plan, there is a requirement for supplemental water, which is what will carry you on beyond 2040. And there's also a requirement for emergency water. What happens if we run out of water tomorrow because the Rio Grande gets polluted, dries up, Mexico dams it, whatever. So what the city of Laredo is currently doing right now in doing these interest statements is trying to figure out how much water is out there available to us, that purveyors will bring to us for both those two. How much can you give me in an emergency water situation where I only take 5, 10, 15 million gallons? Period of time. Back in 2007, the city of Laredo came within 2 meetings of signing a secondary water agreement with folks in Carrizo Springs. That particular contract would have looked much like what Arturo's trying to do now. You will have to bring me water to the city of Laredo at a point that we agree to, and you will bring it at a quantity, quality, and price that we agree to. So they're responsible for all of it back to the well field. Once it gets into our system, then obviously we need to do what we need to do. But there's a component that's currently missing, that if you build groundwater storage, you're gonna need to have a blending study done. Because you're blending treated water that the city of Laredo is producing with water that's being treated by someone else. And again, putting that into the distribution system requires some type of study to make sure you have the right quality. The purveyors that are out there are far and many, and they're all saying they have good quality water. From what we've gathered here, some of them, these two submitted some of their laboratory work from the wells that they have drilled. Others have said, we have it, but we're not going to share that until we get closer to an RFQ. When now you're asking me for something that's a little more concrete. Right now, this was more of a, who's out there and what do you got? And I think Arturo's position is exactly what the city needs. I can't commit my entire need to one group. I need to have multiple folks But then you still have to figure out, okay, well, if we're all putting it into this one ground storage tank, well, who's responsible for the quality of the water coming out once the water gets into that tank? You need to figure that out. Then there's a cost issue. Whatever anyone believes about secondary water, the one thing you need to know that is gospel truth is that it is much more expensive than what you currently consume. The city of Laredo can produce water for less than $1 per 1,000. Everything you see out there is going to exceed that by $2 or $3. So you're looking at $3 to $4 per 1,000 water being delivered to you. And smaller quantities, like in all things, you take less, they charge you more. The more you take, the greater the volume discounts that there are. So again, the school that or the logic that we're using says, hey, we want to split this up. If my needs are only 40 million gallons a day, well, I'm going to split that amongst 5. You can expect the cost from each of those folks is going to be higher. And if I went to one and said, give me all of your water, I'll take all 40 million, that price could drop. But then you've got all your eggs in the basket. What happens if that individual does a deal somewhere upstream of you to sell water to somebody else, and now he doesn't have enough water to commit to you? Now he's in breach of contract, but great, you can go after him monetarily, but what happens to your citizens who no longer have water? So these are all the things that Arturo's going to be faced with over the next 6 months to a year to figure out. And again, I think his position is the right position. Hey, I'm here, you want to sell me water? This is the quantity I need, this is the quality I need, and I'm only gonna take it up to this quantity from each of y'all. Again, San Antonio has done it that way.
We've been looking at one source, be the secondary.
Right.
And that's when okay, once we get it to the town, what are we gonna do? We really don't need it, but we have it, okay, so we'll start selling it to the neighboring towns all over the Corpus if we have to. But that's a better.
But the challenge with that is that the contract that the city was gonna sign in 2007, much like the contract that San Antonio has signed, it's called a take or pay contract. That is, once you agree to a quantity, a quality, you pay for it whether you take it or not. If I make it available to you, and I'm gonna guarantee that availability, you have to pay me for it.
But, a good example is Monterrey. They're having water problems,
Absolutely.
big time. And they had all their eggs in one basket, which was La Boca. And then they built the Cuchillo, and they built the ride up from El Cuchillo to Monterrey. If it wasn't for Cuchillo, Monterrey may not be there, You don't have enough bottled water. And it's been one of my issues about the Columbia Bridge. I mean, we get them, and there was a chemical spill near the river, not but 2 or 3 weeks ago. And I went, oh my God. At first I thought I was on the bridge. Because something happened on the bridge. Our water sources are all beyond that bridge.
Yeah, they're all downstream.
So
But,
we're in trouble.
yeah, the bridge is a containment bridge.
Yeah,
So it had to
both
be-
of you want to take a chance on that?
Supposedly they were designed by some accredited engineers and approved by, the Department of Transportation, so yeah, I guess we
There is
kinda
movement.
do.
There's movement in the ground, right? So, but that's a good point, that's a very good point.
And
They
so-
can bring from that way forever and have. Yeah, for others,
Yeah, what Gene was talking about, the city of Austin, they increased their water supply capacity at a couple of their plants, and of course, had to raise their rates. All the customers started conserving. They're not buying as much water, but I built you this plant, you build this pipeline, now you don't need it. You still gotta charge them for it. Because then Austin went and raised their rates again. Gotta do things, it's like Mark's saying, gotta do them small, otherwise you're.
One of the awe moments I had here years back was when I said, we're in the business of selling water. If we don't sell water, we don't get the revenue because we operate on that revenue. And if we don't have the revenue, we can't, what? It just like, whoa. So why are we conserving water? But at the same time, it's a double-edged sword.
Double-edged sword. You're gonna raise the rate, people are gonna reduce.
From a water master plan perspective, again, coming back to secondary water and emergency water sources, when you enter into these conservation periods, like we're getting pretty close to now, you're not really conserving the water. You're not storing anywhere, there's nowhere to keep it.
That's right.
So it's just flowing downstream. You're conserving your water rights because again, obviously, you're charged for every gallon that comes out of there and around it. But you're not storing it, you're not conserving it, it's just flowing further downstream. Somebody else is either consuming it or.
Who has been to the end of the Rio Grande, by the coast here in the past 5 years?
I've been there, 7
You walk
years ago.
across,
Yeah,
right?
you
You
can
walk
walk across,
across.
absolutely.
There's no water.
No.
Water can,
And I
you can
remember
get to
when
your
I was a
ankles.
flowing river,
Yeah.
as a kid, we'd go down there all the way to Brownsville to my grandpa.
Border Patrol stopped me, they thought I was gonna walk across.
Yeah. Right, there's no barrier, there's nothing, it's just, you just
Or
walk
pick
in the
somebody
beach, all of
up.
a sudden you're in Mexico, and they're going, hey, what?
They turn on picking up my baby.
But, I mean,
I've been here in the Rio Grande, I just walk.
yeah, that's what I'm getting at, you know, we need to be real about the Rio Grande. The population in South Texas has exploded, period. I mean, we used to drive down to Brownsville back in the 50s and a little town here, a little town there. Now it's continuous housing all the way to Brownsville. And it's not gonna get any slower, you know? So that's one of my biggest concern was 18-wheeler, maybe doesn't make you a break, but he's bus or somebody does, you know, terrorists or whatever, just to do damage, right?
I saw one of the shows the other day, Good Morning America, or one of them, artificial turf. How popular it's gotten for
Well,
people to put in
you
their
know,
yards.
If you go down, is it Meadow?
Oh, yeah.
On,
The eye clinic.
Eye clinic?
Yeah.
I'm driving by, oh my God, that yard looks so beautiful. And I come back and I see a guy with a leaf blower on top of it, blowing off the leaves. So I pulled over. I know the family, the Mora family. I pulled over. My dog is astroturf, you know, I'm going like, why do I at the house have the sprinklers running all day long to try and keep it green? And I told my wife, I'm gonna put the front in astroturf. No, you're not, you know. You have it already.
I have it in my backyard.
In your backyard.
In my backyard, yeah.
You know, this explosion, you see
And I
it
use it
here.
more.
When I was in high school, in the 60s, the city limit, you could not walk 3 miles and you'd be out of town.
Yeah.
It was going San Antonio, Chicago Street, 1 block away, city. Going to Freer,
Yeah.
1 block away from Arkansas,
Yeah.
city limit. And then going south, just over the tracks.
Right.
That was it.
3 points, yeah.
City of Laredo.
3 points, that was it, right? Yeah, but that's what I'm saying, that the people that live in this town, those that have migrated into this town in the past 10 years, have a different attitude than the ones that have been here forever. Why? Because we can remember when we paid $10 a month for the water and whatever. Now you get a bill of $150 and you're screaming about it, but you don't do anything to help it, right? You continue using water you use. I see people out there with a water hose washing the driveway. I'm going like, okay, but if you see what, that need,
That's okay.
From an accountant standpoint, she's okay because she wants revenue.
but that's what I'm getting at, right? So you put a,
Napping baby and time.
yeah, you put a, we're under a water shortage plan, and then blah, blah, blah. And so the revenues drop, and now can we afford to hire the 14 guys we need, right? So.
Yeah, no, it's like I said, you gotta fine tune it.
I think the people in town believe that the city just has all unlimited. On our revenue. Oh, we're like an independent business of the city.
Who were the 2 vendors that applied?
Legacy Water Supply
Legacy
and
Water Supply and-
Rio.
Rio Valley.
Rio Valle.
Supply.
Yeah.
And
What about the creators that
Legacy
is
is
still alive?
Legacy, it's still there, but then just north of here, or which?
Legacy is just north of here.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're the ones that are doing the
That's
ones,
why
they're real
Even like a
interested.
new league player.
They're looking to build a 10 million gallon per day plant
He still sends
for
me stuff.
producing water, which to me,
So if we need him.
it's great because it's gonna be something nearby. So you can always already envision I'm looking at between 10, 15 million gallon tank, ground storage tank, that I will have that can be fed, and then water that I flush out of my system that I'll blend. Because I'm trying to conserve water, but at the same time, I'm still gonna have to do flushing.
Yeah.
But I won't flush as much, but then water that I do put into that tank will be blended with the groundwater. And then we inject that back into our system as an emergency.
And Rio Valley's out of Santa Cruz.
Yeah. Their group.
But their source is probably closer to Laredo. From what we gathered, from looking at the interest statements, Legacy presents a really good opportunity for emergency water source. I don't think they're gonna have the volumes necessary for supplemental, but if you're using multiple sources, then they are a player as well. and they are proceeding with creating a MUD, a municipal utility district. They've already hired an engineering group to manage that system. Now they're out for RFQs for the water plant and for the wastewater plant. So the pipe, who puts the tank, and what are you gonna charge them for it? But they're gonna move pretty fast, because they're trying to get a industrial park built, as well as a bedroom community they're gonna be building out there. It's the Walker family, so ultimately you'll see West Wind build homes out there, and you'll see people commuting from Legacy, Texas to.
You know that we talk about a lot of water, you know, but that water go distribute to individual homes and businesses. But you know, every house that has air conditioning is producing drinking water through the air conditioner. The function of an air conditioner is to bring in fresh, cold air into the room. And when it returns to the unit, it picks up the moisture, humidity, whatever. And when it passes through the filters and catches on to those coils, converts from water gas to water liquid. And it's the same thing that's happening with this water gas that we have, the water cycle, that when it gets up there, the water gas, and it's cold, it condenses into clouds, and we wait, what? They call it rain, but more importantly, it's drinking water. That's the water cycle in Earth. It starts from the bottom, or wherever you want to do it, but that's life. Without that, we're not here.
I'm currently irrigating my tomatoes with air conditioning water. So.
I get a gallon of water.
Hey, there's a lot of water coming up.
Oh, yeah. I get a gallon of water from my little window unit every day, and I feed my dog, my cat and dog, and my plant. But I also boil it. Well, I didn't boil it, I drank it. It tastes, it had a taste that you don't know. Like, you have to
little
take.
green color to it.
But look, this water, it's free, right? And you collect it. If you don't want to drink it, look, this is the difference between the air-conditioned water and AC water. You see that?
Wait,
Well, I'm sorry
But,
for moving it. It's
but that's where the city comes
Yeah,
in
but
with
that's it.
conservation
You see that, no?
usage and everything else. But for
You see
example,
that?
my AC unit's in the middle of the house.
Guess which one of the
I gotta
city
go through some
water?
walls to get it outside.
The one that has the more murero.
I'm sending it to the city. I'm sending it to be clean with a
Wastewater.
Yeah, so I'm not wasting it, it's going down, it's down to the plant to be clean. But what I'm getting at is that, it's like when the water reservoirs where you commode, they used to be this big, had 7-8 gallons in it, right? And you flush and it's 5 more gallons. Now with 1 gallon it flushes. I've seen some that, man, take less than that.
Yeah,
you know?
you have the splits now. With one and then two. That's it.
Yeah, that's what I'm getting at, that, so the city, not just here, all over the state of Texas and everybody elsewhere, started telling people, hey, we got 2 commodes to swap out. And so there's been conservation throughout the years, you know, back in the 60s, 70s, 80s. But we get to a point and we just back off. We've did enough. It's like irrigation. That continue 7 days a week. And we thank them because those are the ones paying a lot. And those that conserve aren't. Yeah. So it's a catch-22, and it's just, there's no real right answer. But to me, information, and I think we need to start in elementary schools. You know?
The city of Laredo has a phenomenal conservation program.
Yeah.
Their outreach now that they have the museum with schools, I've seen what
Yeah.
they're doing.
Yeah.
It really is good. But again, it's like October says, you gotta fine tune this. It's a careful balance.
Oh, yeah.
Because you conserve a lot. Again, water that is treated, it just keeps going.
But Falcon needs it, man. Falcon needs it.
But there's no place to store, because one of the things that we looked at in the integrated water master plan, as part of the secondary water solution, was if there was any type of ground storage that you could put in. Some
Now,
aquifer storage.
I'm gonna ask you a
ASR.
technical question here, through. Falcon Lake, 84,000 acres, full pool, at 301, 305 feet above sea level. Full pool, 84,000 acres. In summer, it loses 1 inch to evaporate. 1 inch. How many gallons is that a day? Right?
It's a lot.
No.
It's a lot.
84,000 acres.
Yeah, same with the Laredo.
1 inch
With Amistad.
a day. How many gallons do they equate to? And so, yeah, the only place to store is down there. It's at 74 degrees all the time.
And there's no place to store in this area that would hold water sufficiently well. It
Yeah.
wouldn't leak it
Well,
through.
eminent domain, huh? What's good for the people?
Because we did look at that. We looked
I was doing
at,
something
you
else.
know, aquifer storage and recovery.
No,
Gotta be in the millions.
people are asking me about the downtown.
Oh,
water line.
shit. But anyhow, so,
But that's,
just to give you,
But that's secondary water for you, sir.
yeah.
but I will be issuing some little flash drives to everyone.
Okay.
And that way you can, I guess, look at the reports, look at the studies, look at the information, and we'll continue the discussion on the secondary water source. And then other purveyors, as more information comes in, so we can discuss it and then come back and make a recommendation to council.
And I like that different sources.
Yep,
you know.
multiple sources.
Yeah.
I think that's the.
When we say you put your eggs in all one basket, then
Everything.
Yeah.
we got one right now, the river.
Right, it's a big basket.
Yeah, my biggest fear is, I mean, hey, we're in war. People don't realize it. We are in a war right now. A war with everything. And we have people in the United States trying to ruin us. And we're, one of their countries ruining them. It's you know, tit for tat. Take a 18-wheeler and buy some land next to the river. I'm in real estate. I get people calling me, I said, what do you need? Why? Because I don't want to be involved in something illicit, but you go pack up an 18-wheeler full of some nauseous chemical, just like what was in Tennessee with that storage tank right next to the river, poisoning all the water down for 10 years, whatever. You never know it. You never know it. This border patrol tripped on it. You drop a hose out there and you're trickling it out. And before you know, we're all turning green. So water is life. Okay, I've said this speech. I think I said that one last time, right? But those are my fears, right? When we talk water, those are my
I got a
fears.
county meeting at 1:15, so I have to leave.
We're about to wrap up.
Okay, so we're done with secondary communications. I think you already communicated, right?
Yeah.
I do have one question.
Yes.
So I know we had that low water notice a couple weeks ago. Has that been taken care of? Or
Yes.
Yeah, it was repaired, we flushed out the line, and we issued the notice, rescinded the boil water notice. And it's just a matter, it was a long section of line, 12-inch water line, and just because it was down for a bit, all the biofilm and debris that had accumulated, we had to flush it out. It was about 7 miles of pipe that we had to flush that out, and yeah.
Waking up from a Monday, what? Not people, council members notice.
Yeah.
So then that was, so then how long was it offline for, I guess?
Well, the boil water notice was for about 5 days. And we had repaired it within 2 days, everything had been completed, but the problem was flushing out all the,
And doing the testing?
and then doing the testing, and it takes 24 hours to run the samples. And
But every day they were sending information on what's going on.
The beauty is that TCQ didn't come in and tell you. Good.
No, I made the decision based on
That's
what had
good.
happened with the break, and the tank level had dropped. Because if not, people would have been complaining, the state would have gotten involved and said, why did you issue boil water notice?
Yeah.
So I
To those that say anything, say, wait a minute, we took a partner, so we didn't have anybody tell us mandating it, and 3 weeks later, no, we took care of it, we took care of it.
Yeah, when I got in from Ontario to Houston, boil notice at the
Yeah.
airport, like,
Yeah.
it's everywhere.
Yeah, that's the thing, it happens everywhere all the
And-
time.
and-
It's
They
just-
just make it minute.
Yeah, just for discussion purposes, yes, like, we always hand out bottled water. That's something that I'm considering, okay, yes, we're gonna hand bottled water, but now I gotta charge you for that.
No,
I gotta
so I
charge
told
for
my
that.
wife, right, let's run down and get us 2 cases. She said, "Yeah." I'm just being
People
facetious.
from all that, other
But
roads.
it's $5 a case, why are we gonna drive all the way down? Just, just for the heck of it,
People
because
will.
that's the
Well,
mentality.
people did,
Yeah.
because I had
Of course.
people tell me that people from the west were going to go get it, and you're like, so it costs money, because I'm not gonna like, we spent like $20,000
Yeah,
for
real
60
money.
pallets of water.
Yeah.
And it's okay if they don't have water, but if the water is already in place, then that's where we should just say, well, you know,
Well, we should be
And-
like the city dump. Let me see your utility bill.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I did suggest that, but they say,
No.
you don't wanna,
You don't want to do it.
Well, you would have to know every single street that was
Street, yes.
affected,
Yeah.
but then somebody suggested, well, you can do a drive-by, you know, you go down
Do a
all of them
drive-by,
and you drop off the water, which is probably
Better
better,
idea.
because you know that the people that are truly affected are
Right.
the ones that are getting the water.
Right.
But it's just one of those that it's, every time we have one, city would like to pass out water, which is a great thing, but it's a costly thing.
I think somebody asked, did they have to boil the water for their cats and dogs? And I said, no, they have enzymes in the mouth that kills any
Man,
kind of
kids drink
bacteria.
water from
They
anywhere.
drink out of the puddle.
Drink out of-
Drink out of the-
I used to drink next.
Fluffy drinks out of the toilet every time
People were only out of water for less than 24 hours.
Yes.
The line was repaired. Hey, you know, you can't flush your toilet. That's when you know you're out of water.
Yeah.
You have to boil some to drink it or cook with it. Okay, at least I got it.
Yeah, exactly.
But most communities, they don't offer bottled
Yeah,
water.
no,
It's
I
just-
saw-
But
it's
nobody
a public
drinks from the
relation.
faucet anymore, so that's the funny.
That's what we also should call us.
Tell them, hey, you need to start charging for that bottled water, just because the line broke, that's part of the operation. You
Yeah,
need to
but
fix
every
it.
bottle of water I gave us a vote.
Part of life.
I didn't want to say that, but
That's all right. Every bottle you give out is a vote. Have no fear, son. None.
oh, I know.
So the boil water notice for the colonias has been lifted?
Yes.
Yes, it was lifted.
It was on TV and.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, the information is everywhere.
But you have to understand, the further you live away from the water plant,
Yeah.
the harder everything is.
Yeah, that's it.
Takes longer pressure, more pumps, less tanks. The farther you are out, you have the lower end of the service. The guy close, I can flush him out real quick. Got a lot of pumps, got the whole plant. We have one tank out 359. Fill it up, flush it down. Fill it up, flush it down. Takes a lot of time.
And where is that located?
That's like right by the landfill. Actually, it's in,
Into that field.
In kind of in the
We'll see.
landfill area.
We'll take that back.
And this tank, does it also pump water out or just moving it with the same pump?
no, it had pumps. It had
It
pumps.
has
So I
an
had to-
additional pump?
Yes, you have to pump it from that spot.
Okay.
So the line that was feeding that tank is what broke. So we couldn't get any more water to that tank, and that's what pumps it out to Las Blancas, all the way out that way. And
To find out where the leak's at, that was the problem. It's
Yeah,
not,
that
it's
was the
like,
problem.
where is it?
Pueblo Nuevo was the last subdivision, right? Or there another
Yes.
one? over
Pueblo Nuevo was-
that's the end.
Sorry, guys, I'm gonna have to.
Okay.
Okay,
Thank you.
we're done.
Thank you for your.
Yes, sir.
Topic for the next meeting, anybody have something they wanna?
Second water source.
More
Let's continue.
We're continuing that.
More water. Anybody else?
Go ahead, go for it.
I think, I know we talked about the water master plan the last time, so I think, I don't know if the wastewater one is available on.
Workshop coming soon, right?
Workshop's coming soon, but I'll update once we have information. There are some discussion points that I need to address with the corporate.
All righty, we're done. I need a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
I need a second.
Second.
Motion and second, all those in favor to adjourn? Aye.
Aye.
All those
Good time.
Yeah, perfect. I think you have the slides.
Do you have a flashlight?